Mute your microphones, please.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to this new edition of Faculty Development Workshop. So we are in the last month now of our faculty development workshops. Today's session, we'll have Dr. Anyu. He'll be talking about the Sustainability Journal, for which he's a guest editor. And then I'll take over. I'll talk about one research project that's on supply chain collaboration. And just a reminder, 2 weeks from now, December 3rd, that's again a Thursday, we'll be having our third annual business research conference. So that's going to be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I've already sent out a calendar invite to everyone along with the agenda for the day. So please encourage your students also to participate in that conference. And hope to see you all 2 weeks from now also. Thank you everyone for joining, and I'll just hand it over to Dr. Anyu. Over to you, Dr. Anyu.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, this afternoon I want to draw your attention to a very, very interesting journal that I ran into. In fact, I was introduced to the journal this summer by the Aroras, and with my normal curiosity self, I went deep into the journal, and I only discovered how much of a gold mine it was. First, every time I want to look for a very interesting journal, I look for the editorial page, who are the members of the editorial board, and who has indexed the journal, what is the impact of the journal, what is the rejection rate of the journal, and how long has the journal been in existence, what is the volume of publication annually. So when I went through it carefully, I looked at the Sustainability Journal, and I realized it was a very, very interesting journal. It fully embraced what modern publishing scholarly academic journals are drifting towards, which is having multidisciplinary approaches to the way they publish their articles. Now, this journal in particular is published from Switzerland, in Basel, Switzerland. The editorial board is made up of more than 50 top-notch professors who range from the University of Madrid, University of Switzerland, Vanderbilt in the United States, in Australia, in Ghana, in South Africa, in China, in India. So you can see how broad the journal is. The journal came to existence in 2009. And so far, it has published 12 volumes. It's in its 12th volume. It has published more than 27,694 articles so far. Of that number, almost 4,800 of the articles have been cited 10 times or more. Now, when I went further and looked at the impact factor of this journal for the last 5 years, on a scale of 3, it has an impact factor of 2.793 for the last 5 years. And for the present year, it has an impact factor of 2.576. Now, with respect to the rejection rate, when you want to look at how powerful a journal is, you look at the rejection rate. This article has an acceptance rate of close to 30%. The rejection rate is between 62 and 70, which is in conformity with what a top-tier journal should be. The quality of the articles are very, very thorough. Each article has more than 4 reviewers, which are blindly reviewed. In other words, the author of the article does not know who the reviewers are, and the reviewers do not know who the author of the article is. And the journal is increasingly gaining a lot of momentum. When you look at its indexing, it's very, very highly indexed. It has more than 27 index databases around the world, including some of the most renowned ones that we know here: ProQuest Central, Google Scholar, JGate, which is in India, Academic OneFile, etc., etc. It is also to fall within the norms of the validity and reliabilities of publication. It has membership with the Committee on Publication Ethics, which is, if you have to be published as a journal, there are certain norms that you must conform with. Among those norms include plagiarism, originality, well-grounded research, currency in the research, and most of the articles must be academic-based in nature. Now, when you look at most of the reviewers equally are credited not with cash, but they have membership to an organization called Publio. In other words, Publio is a well-known body in the publication world that rewards by giving citations, written citations, to reviewers who have successfully reviewed an article for any journal that has membership with that organization. Now, it is very interesting, according to what my friend mentioned earlier, this summer, Dr. Amit Arora, Anyu Arora, myself, and of course, John McIntyre, who is a very well-known business professor at Georgia Tech, were assigned the role of guest editor for the special issue, which will be coming up, and you eventually see it. I will strongly urge every one of you, if you are considering an article for this journal, please do so, because you're going to get a lot of mileage. And you'll meet some very, very powerful names. And so if you have any further questions with respect to these and other sound journals which are needed, you can contact me. You know where to contact me at udc@udc.edu, and we can go from there. I am open at any one time to talk to any one of us on any journal, and this included, that you intend to publish in, and I'll be always glad to look at your work, because I have been reviewing articles for more than 20 years, and I've been sitting on editorial boards of peer-reviewed journals for the last 19 years, ranging from journals in Duke or journals in the University of Indiana, in Cambridge, and presently an online selection manager for the articles published by one online journal in Cambridge University in England, and this one. So if you have any questions after Ahmed finished presenting, then you could raise them, please. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Anyu, for letting us know about this journal and the opportunity to publish in this journal. So if anyone has any interest or would like to have more information, please contact Dr. Julius Anyu at his email. He's already given all the details, his contact details, and we all know his details. So any questions for Dr. Anyu before we move on to the next part of today's session?
No questions.
Okay. All right. So then let's move on to the next part, where I'll be making a short presentation about an article that I've been working on along with my co-authors, Dr. Anyu Arora, Dr. John McIntyre. And this article is under review now. So we've over the summer, we were able to send it over in fall, not really. So we worked over in the summer, and then in fall, we sent it out for review. So hopefully things work out and we get a publication. So just want to share what that project was all about. So let me just quickly share my screen with you all. Okay. Hold on. Okay, right here. Right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, thanks. All right, so the title of this research is Measuring the Effect of Market Turbulence on Supply Chain Collaboration and Performance Outcomes of the Firm. So a lot of research has been done in the supply chain field on the role of collaboration. Why do firms collaborate with each other, and what impact has collaboration with the trading partners, what impact it has on the performance of the firm. So there has been a lot of research that has been done in this area, and there have been lots of examples in the real business world that really going to exemplify the role of collaboration. For example, we have this long-standing relationship between Procter & Gamble and Walmart. This relationship started off in the 80s, and it's still going very, very strong, which has benefited both the companies in this collaboration. If you look at on the right-hand side, if you look at this chart, Procter & Gamble is one of the largest suppliers in terms of dollars. So if you look at Procter & Gamble, it's about $10.68 billion worth of sales to Walmart. So it is the biggest partner of Walmart. So this really tells us about the amount of the strong relationship that exists between these two companies. In fact, the relationship started off in the 80s when it was a very transactional relationship that these companies had, and over the years this has grown to be one of the strongest partnerships in the world of business. Little data visualization over here, which tells us about the growth of Walmart. And obviously, as Walmart grew, Procter & Gamble also grew with it. So let me just share this data visualization. It's a very cool data visualization. It tells us about the growth of Walmart and Sam's Club between the years 1962, when the first Walmart store came up, till 2010. So on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the year. It starts from 1962 and goes up to 2010. And then it shows us the store count from 1 and it goes up to like 4,000 something. So let me just play it for you. It's a very cool visualization. So you can see how the counters move. And so that's the first one, 1962. That was the first Walmart store that came up in Arkansas, Bentonville. So a very slow growth in the 60s. And it starts mushrooming in the 70s in the Southeast United States, and then moves on towards California side and the West Coast. You can see how this growth of Walmart really spread like a wildfire in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s. So the green, you see, that's the Sam's Club that started coming up. So a rapid growth all over US, more so towards the eastern coast and towards the Midwest. So at the end of 2010, there were about 4,400 Walmart stores, Walmart and Sam's Club put together. In 2020, we have 5,352 Walmart and Sam's Club stores. And internationally, if you look at Walmart, it's about 11,484 stores. So a tremendous progress of Walmart, and along with this, both these companies really benefited from this growth of Walmart. So we all understand collaboration in supply chains is very, very critical, and a lot has been done in this area of research. However, there seems to be some gap in the literature. There seems to be some limited research on the effect of market turbulence on the link between collaboration and firm performance. So what really happens when there is market turbulence is present? And market turbulence is defined in terms of when you have new customers coming in, you've got new demands of new customers, changing preferences of customers. So what really happens between the supply chain collaboration and the firm performance link when there is an introduction of market turbulence? This construct of market turbulence has been borrowed from the marketing literature. So this paper is more of on the intersection of marketing and supply chain. The purpose of our research is to come up with a conceptual model that illustrates the effect of market turbulence on the link between the level of collaboration and its outcomes that impact the firm performance. The specific research question that we try to answer in this research is, what is the effect of market turbulence on the relationship between supply chain collaboration, the level of supply chain collaboration, and its performance outcomes? And to help answer this question, we have taken the help of specifically 3 theories. And in fact, we are trying to we look at the conflicting insights from 3 different theories. One is the behavioral theory, the contingency theory, and the relational view. So we use these 3 theories to come up with our conceptual model, and then test the relationships to find out what is the effect of market turbulence on the different constructs that we have in our conceptual model. So a little bit of a background about the 3 theories that we have used in this research. The first one is behavioral theory. And this states that organizations, they always try to avoid uncertainty in their environment. And they do so by always emphasizing on solving short-term problems. They use decision rules. They use standard operating procedures to arrange for a very negotiated environment. They come up with contracts, uncertainty avoiding contracts, to avoid planning where plans depend on prediction of uncertain future events. So that's what behavioral theory is all about. It was propagated way back in 1963, but it's still used in the literature today. So it has stood the test of time. The other theory that we've used is the structural contingency theory, given by Lawrence and Lorsch way back again in 1967, but still used in the literature today. So this states that environmental conditions they shape the internal organization structure of firms. And it says that the best way to organize is contingent on the external environment. If that environment is very stable, it's very predictable, there is no market turbulence in the environment, then the structural form of the organization will be very centralized, it will have very clear goals. However, if the opposite happens, if the environment is very turbulent, there is market turbulence present in the environment, then the structural form is going to be very informal. It will have very ambiguous goals. The third theory that we have used is the relational view, given by Dyer and Singh in 1998. And this theory, this relational view, it focuses on examining the network of relationships in which the firm is embedded. So it says that the competence of an organization, or the way an organization is ahead of the competition depends on the relationships that the firm has developed over time with its partners. So strategic relationships with the partners which are outside the firm, they are a source of competitive advantage for the firm. So these are the 3 different theories that we have used. So relational view, it seems to suggest that regardless of any turbulence in the environment, regardless of any market turbulence, it's the relationships between firms that will offer the sustained competitive advantage. The behavioral theory, on the other hand, it seems to suggest that market turbulence will positively affect the collaboration level and operational performance link. And contingency theory, on the other hand, suggests that market turbulence will negatively impact the collaboration and relational performance link. So very conflicting insights from these three different theories. So we thought of testing these three theories and coming up with our results to see what do we really find. So coming on to the theoretical framework, our first hypothesis is that the higher the supply chain collaboration level between the firms, the better would be the relational outcomes. And relational outcomes are defined in terms of mutual trust between the partners, a sense of respect for their partner in the business. The second hypothesis is higher levels of collaboration between the firms would lead to better operational outcomes. The third hypothesis is that the better relational outcomes will lead to better operational outcomes between the firms. In the fourth hypothesis is where we introduce our concept of market turbulence, where market turbulence acts as a moderator between the supply chain collaboration and operational outcomes link, and also as a moderator between the supply chain collaboration and relational outcome link. So we have hypothesized a positive moderating relationship in H4 and a negative moderating relationship in H5. Hypothesis number 6 is better operational outcomes would lead to better organizational performance. And organizational performance is defined in terms of financial performance and the market performance of the firm. Market performance in terms of market share and that type of performance. And the last hypothesis that we have, H7, is better relational outcomes would lead to better organizational performance of the firms. So these are our 7 hypotheses. We have 5 constructs, out of which we have borrowed one from the marketing literature. The firm performance construct is widely used in all business research. So we had a total of 21 items measuring those 5 constructs, and all the scales, they have either been adapted or adopted from the literature. And we used web-based survey methodology to collect the responses from the respondents. So we had the total responses that we got was 83. We are in the process of having more responses. In fact, the paper that we submitted had a sample size of more than 83. It was about 212. But the presentation that I prepared, it pertains to the sample size of 83. Even though the sample size seems to be small, 83, but we have done all the statistical tests to test the predictive power of our sample, and we got all good results in that. Looking at the demographics of the respondents, so we had responses from various industry sectors. We had a mix of small and large companies. We had about a quarter of the companies which had their revenue above $1 billion. And we had about a third of the companies which had their revenues below $3 million. So we had a good mix of the size of the firm. For our statistical methodology, we used partial least squares, and specifically we used the Smart PLS 3.0 software for our analysis. We used partial least squares because of various reasons. This is preferred in case the sample size is relatively small. So that's why we use that. And also partial least squares method, it's a more conservative modeling approach that tends to underestimate the path coefficients rather than overestimate. So that reduces the likelihood of type 1 errors coming up with false positives. Coming on to the reliability and validity of all our constructs. And so what we found was that all the Cronbach alpha values, for all the constructs, it was greater than 0.7. All the point estimates of the outer loadings, that was greater than 0.7, except for two of them, which I have highlighted over here. So one was 0.694, the other was 0.604. But what we found during our analysis was that even if we keep them or we throw out these items, it did not make any difference in the results. So we decided to keep these two in our model. And here you can see how we have defined all the constructs. So operational outcomes are in terms of costs and cost, quality, and customer service. Relational outcomes are in terms of appreciation for the customer, commitment to work together, respect for the skills and capabilities of the partner. So we've given all that in our paper. As far as the T values were concerned, so we had all sufficient T values greater than 2.94. So that really, all the reliability and validity of all the constructs that was established. All the average variance extracted values, they are supposed to be greater than 0.5. So that satisfied that criteria too. Coming on to the discriminant validity. So we found that the square root of our average variance extracted values, which is given in this diagonal over here, that was greater than the correlation among all the latent variables. So what that means is, so if we look at 0.80, so this value is greater than the corresponding row values and the corresponding column values. So 0.8 is greater than 0.6. It's also greater than 0.7, 0.42, and 0.38. And that is true for all of these values in the diagonal. So that ensured the discriminant validity of all the 5 constructs that we've used in our research. Coming on to the effect size, so that's where we looked at the predictive power of the sample. So we found that all the Q-square values, they were positive, greater than 0. That indicated sufficient predictive power of the model. So as I said, even though our sample size was small before we sent it out to review, but we tested that. The sample size of 83 was, it had the sufficient predictive power. So these are the final path coefficients for the entire model. So what we found was that out of the 7 hypotheses that we had, 3 were supported and 4 were rejected. So instead of looking at it in this form, let's go back to the model to really see what got rejected and what got accepted, and what's the story that really comes out after doing all the statistical analysis. So this is what we found. 4 of the hypotheses were rejected, 3 were supported. So what does it really mean for us and for the managers? So what we found was that there is no direct link between the level of supply chain collaboration and operational outcomes. However, that relationship was mediated through the relational outcomes. So no direct link over here, but then the supply chain collaboration level had a link, an indirect link with relational outcomes mediating that. And if we look at the right-hand side of the model, the relational outcomes, they have no effect on the organizational performance. So you may have great relational outcomes, but they have no direct effect on the organizational performance. However, this relationship is again mediated through the operational outcomes. So better relational outcomes would lead to better operational outcomes, and that in turn would lead to better organizational performance. No direct link between relational outcomes and organizational performance. If we look at the moderating variable of market turbulence, so what we found was that it has no impact on either the collaboration operational outcome link or the collaboration and relational outcome link. So as long as the relationships between the companies are strong, then the market turbulence will not matter. So this is the story that really came out of our findings. So just to a recap, so no direct relationship between collaboration and relational outcomes. However, relational outcomes, they mediate the relationship between the level of supply chain collaboration and the operational outcomes. And the finding another finding interesting was that market turbulence will have no effect on either of the links that we were talking about. So as long as the relationship between the firms is strong, then the market turbulence is not going to have much of an effect. As far as the theoretical implications are concerned, so we actually tested two competing set of theories, relational view versus behavioral theory and relational view versus contingency theory. And what we found was that in both the cases, relational view really holds. So it's about the relationships in which the firm is embedded with its partners. They need to be strong, and the rest of the stuff probably should take care of itself. So no matter if there is any market turbulence present in the environment, as long as the relations between the trading companies is concerned, between in the supply chain is concerned, the performance of the firm would be good. Implications to managers. So managers should focus their efforts on relational outcomes in the collaborating relationships, because strong relational outcomes would lead to better operational outcomes, which would finally lead to better firm performance. And then market turbulence seems to not have any effect on the link between collaboration and the outcomes construct of relational and operational. Some limitations of the research, of course, in any survey-based methodology, we have single respondents. We have, the data is collected only from the focal firms, and there is no secondary or objective data to verify the improvements in the firm performance. So for any survey methodology, these are the limitations. So I know Dr. Gali had her research in the past 3 weeks before, and she had the same limitations about the objective data to verify. So in our case, to verify the firm performance. Yep. So that's it. That's the end of my presentation. And if anyone has any questions. Any questions? I'm just trying to.
Yes. Can I say the sorry? Can I say the your question items reference?
Yes. Sure. Let me go back here. Yep. So that's right here. So these are all the constructs and their items, all the items.
Okay. I mean, how do you get those items?
So these are all adapted or adopted from the literature, from the existing literature. So I don't have the references on this slide, but I have it in the paper that I have.
Okay. All right. Because last time my paper was questioned about this part. They asked me to list every item's reference.
Yeah. So these days, I think all the journals, they're asking for the entire questionnaire. And of course, it has to be backed up by the literature. So yeah, so we took care of that in our.
Yeah, I would suggest you make one more table to list this item come from which paper. This item come from which paper.
Sure. Yeah. So what I've done is I put it in an appendix form. So yeah, it's there. Yeah. But yeah, good suggestion, because these days journals are asking about, give the entire questionnaire that has been used. So. Yeah.
Okay, because they give very low score to self-developed items. If you develop items by yourself, they give you, very bad, comments.
Yeah. So as long as, it's all should be backed up by the literature. If I develop my own scales, then you have to go through that process of first validating those scales and everything, doing all the statistical stuff before it really has some validity and reliability. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions from anyone?
Any questions, any comments? Any suggestions?
Can you go back to the model? You were explaining that H3 and H5 were negative. Why did you hypothesize a negative relationship for those?
Yeah, just a minute. Let me go back to the model. Let me share my screen again. where is the, okay, right here. Okay. So that's, you're talking about H5?
Yeah, and there's you know, I'm looking through my phone because so it's H3 and H5.
So H3, we hypothesize that the relational outcomes, better relational outcomes would have better operational outcomes. They lead to better operational outcomes. And H5 is more towards the moderating variable of market turbulence. And we hypothesize that market turbulence would have a negative moderating effect on the link between supply chain collaboration and relational outcomes. And this
Yeah,
is
exactly.
Mhm.
So my question is on the market turbulence, moderating impact on the supply chain to operational outcomes and supply chain to relational outcomes. You have different hypothesized effects for the different relationships. Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, so that goes back to our the theory that we have used. So one is the behavioral theory and one is the structural contingency theory. So these two, the hypotheses of it's actually H5 and H4. So both these H4 and H5, they are based on this theory, the behavioral theory and the structural contingency theory. So that's why one of the relationships we have hypothesized as negative and the other one as positive. So essentially, we are trying to test the theory over here.
Okay.
Can I say one thing? So Naza, just to answer your question, so the way we hypothesize this market turbulence is basically when there's a recession in the economy or when the things are not looking good. For example, something like today's times where we have COVID, right? So with the relational outcomes like trust, the softer values, they will be negatively impacted. So when things like this happen between the partners, the main company and the other company, the partner company, the trust may not exist. So that is a negative side of the thing. Whereas the positive side on the operational outcomes is more like profitability. So they still work together for getting the profits. So that's why the positive is for H4 and for H5 it will be negative in a relational, in a sort of a market turbulent environment. So that's what it was actually, showing here. And this is on the basis of the literature.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Right. Any other questions? Questions, comments? Okay. So I guess no more questions. So
I just want to
yes,
wish you good luck in the paper. Just good luck for your publication.
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So, all right. So I guess there are no more questions, no more comments. So yeah, that's the end of this faculty development workshop. Again, we'll organize these in the next semester too. So if anyone would like to lead any of the workshops, please let me know. I know for the month of January, we have Dr. Ivanov. So he'll be leading one of the workshops, but then we are open for other months. So please send in your suggestions and we'll be happy to, set our program for the next semester too.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That's very good. Actually, these are great things happening for us, and it's really wonderful. Thanks to all of you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Okay. Have a good day. Stay warm.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
And December 3rd, we'll have our conference, the SBPA Research Conference.
Oh, yeah, you will be there.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.